And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Here, Lucas from Mars back again with this Miami Marlins franchise rebuild here, and the Marlins right now sitting a couple of games, or a game and a half, I think, above the New York Mets right now, and we're gonna go and we're gonna finish out this series here against New York, and then we're gonna have the trade deadline here. So, first up is this full game between Miami and New York. I remember Miami last time that we had a game here against the Mets, a monster late inning home run by Jorge Soler in that game to give the Marlins the victory there in that one. And here's a look at Jesus Sanchez in his stats. He's been very good this season, 276 on the average, 21 home runs and 54 RBIs. Definitely a little bit of a better year than I expected him to have. He's been really good this season. And Sandy Alcantara on the mound here in this game for Miami. 21 starts this season and 7-3 record with a 3.5 ERA and 1.23 whip. He's been alright in this season. Here's 2 down in this top of the first inning for Pete Alonso. Coming up, batting 286 on the season with 25 home runs. And here comes the 0-1. It's a ball lined up the middle, and it hits Alcantara, and Alonso was going to reach there on what will be scored, I would think, a base hit off of Sandy Alcantara, who stays in the game. Now pitches to J.D. Davis, and J.D. Davis is going to fly one over to right field, and Brian De La Cruz is going to get there and underneath it to make the catch to end the top of the first inning. So, one happening down here, and a hit by New York, but no runs. 1-0, or no score here as we go to the bottom of the first. And on the mound for the New York Mets is Max Scherzer, and he's been very good this season. A 2.84 ERA and a 1.19 whip in 139 innings pitched. This offense kind of struggled against Jacob deGrom in the last episode, and they're going to be facing a really good pitcher here as well on Max Scherzer. Is that he is going to be a ground out to J.D. Davis at third base to end the bottom of the first inning, and nothing happening there for Miami and the bottom of the first. So we go up to the top of the second inning here, and it's Jeff McNeil at the plate, who has not been very good this season for the Mets overall, only batting 227. Alcantara here leaning in on a 2-2 pitch here to the batter, and there is a swing and a miss. Jeff McNeil cannot make contact with that one, and there's a big-time strikeout as Lindor is up at a stolen base attempt here for the Mets, and that is not going to, they're going to get him out at second base there quite easily, as a good play by Williams Astudillo, who was catching in this game for the Marlins, and no score. Bottom of the second here for Jorge Soler. Had that monster home run, of course, in the last game of this series with 25 home runs and 65 RBIs overall in the season. And 0-2 to him from Max Scherzer is a slider that just barely misses on the outside corner there. Really close pitch there, an 0-2 and a good pitch by Max Scherzer there. Now, Scherzer going to come back here with a 1-2 pitch to Soler, and that one is a fastball right near where the slider was, but Soler not ready for it, and he swings right through it and swings and misses. Really good pitch right there. We're going to look here, and yeah, Soler not early not early enough on that pitch at all, and swinging late on it. Now Garrett Cooper is going to swing and miss there at a high cutter, and he's batting 280 this season with 11 home runs and 39 RBIs. And he's now got a 1-2 count on him. And Scherzer is going to get another strikeout there. Garrett Cooper swinging and missing way inside and a little high as well. And man, you got to have great stuff to get a hitter to swing at a pitch like that. Really good pitch right there from Max Scherzer. And in the second inning, still no score. We go to the bottom of the third, and here's now Williams Astudillo. And Astudillo is going to take a fastball there at the knees for strike 3. Scherzer with his 4th of the game already. And now it's Joey Wendell batting 276 with 8 homers and 28 ribbies on the season so far. And here comes in 0-1 from Scherzer to him. Here is a fly ball, a high slider, but that is near the foul line there in left field. It is caught to end the bottom of the 3rd inning. So we go into the 4th now. And still no score in this game. J.D. Davis is up again, and he is going to swing and miss at a really good slider there by Alcantara, getting his 2nd strikeout of the game. And man, that was a really nice pitch right there from Sandy Alcantara. So now Jeff McNeil at the plate here. And McNeil's going to hit a ground ball over to Jazz Chisholm at second base. Easy play there made to end the top of the 4th inning. And, oh man, middle of the 4th, and it's still no score. 2 hits for each team here in this one so far. As now here's Jazz Chisholm. 0-2 count on him, and he's going to swing and miss, and a high and inside slider there from Scherzer. There's like strikeout number 5 on the day for him, and now Jorge Soler, who struck out his last time, and he is going to swing and miss there at that one as a high and inside pitch by Scherzer. He's got 6 Ks through 4 innings, and he has been quite effective against this Marlins lineup here tonight. Both of these pitchers matching each other evenly so far in this game. As here's Francisco Lindor, and with 2 strikes on him, he is going to swing and miss at his sinker there below the knees. And Alcantara with his 3rd K of the game and another scoreless inning halfway home, and we've got a pitcher's duel, no score as we go to the top of the 6th inning. Now here's James McCann at the plate. A 3-1, and there's a drive, and that one is going to get down, and it's going to roll all the way to the wall here and in the gap. Ryan De La Cruz is on his horse, and he picks it up. There is a double, though, for New York. James McMahon with his 12th of the season, and that is one of the few hits that we've seen this game. Maybe the first extra base hit of the night. And there's a swing and a drive out to deep center field. Sanchez wanting a room. That ball is gone. Starling Marte with a 2-run homer to straightaway center field, and New York scores the first runs of this game. They are up 2-0 here in the 6th inning. As, man, a high drive for 13, and, man, right into straightaway center field. Huge home run by Starling Marte, his 7th of the season, and a 2-0 lead for the Mets as we will go into the bottom of the 6th, a double play. Turn right there by the Marlins infield, but, man, how about that huge swing by Starling Marte? 6 hits, 2 runs through 6 innings. That might be the last inning for Sandy Alcantara. Not sure if he will pitch in the 7th inning here, but Max Scherzer is still pitching strong, and he's going to get his 7th strikeout of the day there with a nasty off-speed pitch to Williams Astudillo. As they look at the StatCast here, the pitch sequence, a fastball outside, and then a couple of off-speed pitches. Missed with that slider, outside with a curve, and the circle change there. The only time he threw that pitch in the at-bat, and he gets the strikeout there. As Joey Wendell going to hit a ground ball right over to first base. Pete Alonso easily takes care of it for the outs. And so, man, the Marlins offense here against Max Scherzer is really not doing anything right now, as it is still 2-0. Here's Jack McNeil at the plate, and there's a line drive, base hit into center field by the batter here for New York to start the inning off, and Jeff McNeil will get a runner on, and that is going to be the hook for Sandy Alcantara tonight, who does pitch 6 innings, gives up 2 runs on 7 hits today with 3 strikeouts, I believe, and I don't know if he wants anybody or not, but overall, a good, decent performance by Sandy Alcantara in this one, with the offense here has got to help him out a little bit here, as they have not done anything on the offensive end. Here's Anthony Bass to try and shut the door down. Our only all-star of the season, and man, he's been so good in 51 innings this season with that 1.58 ERA. Here now is Mark Hanna with that man on first base, and a ground ball to Joey Wendell. And immediately here, 2 pitches in, Anthony Bass clears the bases of that base runner and gets 2 down here in the 7th inning. Huge pitch right there from Anthony Bass. Now an 0-2 to Lindor, and he has got him on the top of the zone. A 2-seam fastball there for strike 3. Great pitch to Francisco Lindor, and end of the top of the 7th inning stretch. And these fans have not had much to cheer about in this game so far. They have still seen their offense be scoreless tonight. As here's Jorge Soler up again. 1-2 pitch here to Soler. He is a swing and a drive. Right center field. At the walls, the right fielder. And it is gone. Another day and another Jorge Soler home run. It's his 2nd homer in as many games, and this one to maybe kickstart the offense a little bit here and get the Marlins on the scoreboard. His 26th of the season, and it is 2-1 in the 7th inning. As that one just barely got out into right center field, but man, we've had a lot of episodes, and it seems every episode we see a home run by that man, Jorge Soler, who's just been continues to be our best hitter on this team this season. 26 now on the year for him, and only the 3rd hit of the game for the Marlins, and they have made this deficit a little closer. They are now only down 2-1 in this ball game. As we go into the 8th, and here is Trevor May, who's only pitched 8 innings, and we saw a couple of relievers for the Mets in the last episode, and they didn't really pitch a lot of innings, so I don't know why the bullpen for New York doesn't seem to have any innings pitched whenever we face a guy out of the bullpen here, but no Seth Lugo, if you notice, in this 8th inning, because he pitched yesterday, but also because he's struggled against the Marlins, although he wouldn't have to face Jorge Soler in this inning. But there's a big-time extra base knock from Jesus Aguilar, who gets a double there into the gap. Might be one of the final times we see him in a Marlins uniform with a trade deadline looming, as there's a base hit, and Aguilar is so slow that we're not even going to try and test him going home. But first and 3rd, and now 1 out after John Birdie takes a look at that pitch from Trevor May, high in the zone for strike 3. I mean, man, this is a golden opportunity right here. A slider, high slider by Trevor May. Huge opportunity here to get on the scoreboard, and Williams Astudillo now is going to hit a fly ball into right field, and it's, relatively shallow. There's not going to be a test on trying to get Jesus Aguilar home. He's, again, not quick enough to want to test that, and so now there's 2 outs, and you're in danger of blowing this really, really critical opportunity in the 8th inning here in this ball game, with Joey Wendell now the last chance for the Marlins to score in this 8th inning. He is 0 for 3 in this game so far today, and let's see what happens here on the first pitch from Trevor May. Is a perfect swing timing, but a line drive, and it's right to the right fielder. The catch is made. Man, that is disappointing for the Marlins. Perfect swing timing, and ball that was absolutely crushed, but it just was not meant to fall. And now Edwin Diaz is going to try and get the save. He does only have 2 blown saves this year, but his ERA is really high, and only in 20-plus innings this season. I'm sure he's been a closer for this, maybe the whole year, I don't know, for New York, but there's a swing and a miss way late on that fastball. Was Jesus Sanchez, as Edwin Diaz, man, gets to pull that fastball right by him. And, a couple of fastballs there. The 2-seamer was the one that finished the deal off for Edwin Diaz. So now 1 away for Jazz Chisholm. And he is going to swing and miss at a high fastball as well. That one even higher than the last one that we saw. As, man, oh man, that was not a good pitch to swing at all. As a couple of fastballs actually only needed was fastballs in that at-bat. 3 4-seamers and a 2-seamer. So now with 2 outs, here's Jorge Soler down to their final out of the game, and there is a pop-up into the shallow outfield, and the shortstop, it looks like they're going to make the catch, and that is going to be the game. as the Mets do hold on in this one, and they win it 2-1. A low-scoring pitcher's duel in this one. Max Scherzer pitched incredibly well today, and he does get credit for the win. The loss goes to Alcantara, even though he pitched really well, and Edward Diaz locks it down for the save. So the Marlins do fall in this one here, and a pretty big game to lose in here as well. But I mean, man, this is the second game in this series between these two teams, I believe. So the series is now split at a game apiece evenly. As not a whole lot of highlights here, and really nothing for the offense to show for. Only 5 hits gotten in that game by the Marlins in this one. And Max Scherzer was 6 strikeouts in 7 innings, only 3 hits, no, or a 1 earned run allowed. That home run by Jorge Soler, and the loss goes to Alcantara. Only had 1 walk, 2 runs and 7 hits in 6 innings pitched with 3 strikeouts in this one. So Miami does fall 2-1 here in that game. So we're going to go back to the calendar here, and we are going to quick manage this final game of this 3-game series here between the New York Mets, as we get started with Trevor Rogers on the mound in this one, and he will give up a 2-run home run to Pete Alonso pretty much right away here in the top of the first inning. Not a good look there, as it's New York up 2-0 here already in the first inning in this one. He does get through that inning, but here's Chris Bassett on the mound for New York in this bowl game here. Joey Wendell leading it off. He does got a base hit here. Now Jesus Sanchez also singles, and there's another hit from Jazz Chisholm. Bases are loaded. Jorge Soler gets a fly, but not a tag up and not a run scored. There's a run scored on a fielder's choice. Jesus Aguilar gets credit for that RBI, but only 1 run by Miami in that bottom of the first inning. They had the bases loaded and nobody out, and that is a little unfortunate that they only get 1 run in that frame, as there's a couple of strikeouts there by the pitcher, and Rogers here trying to get through this top of the third. He gives up another base hit here. Peter Alonso, a runner caught stealing actually there, as Chris Bassett still on the mound, and there's a double by Jazz Chisholm here, who is 2 for 2 today, but nothing happens there, as Rogers still going here in the top of the 4th inning. Marcana up here, and he's going to strike out. Another kind of RBI opportunity with runners on, and there's Avicio Garcia launching a solo home run in the bottom of the 4th inning. And it is now a tie game at 2-2, and now the bases are loaded for Jesus Sanchez, who does not score any more runs in that inning. And another bases loaded chance, but there's a walk, and then a double from Brandon Nimmo, as the Mets go back out on top here in this game. Now it's 3-2 in the top of the 5th inning, as Chris Bassett gets a couple of strikeouts there in the bottom of the 5th. And now we'll see how much longer we want Rogers to go in this bowl game. Gives up a single here to Smith, and there's a pop-up, a fielder's choice. Now Marcana gets another hit here. James McCann, can he get through this 6th inning? Gives up another run, and there's another base hit there. And that is going to be the end of the game for James, or for Trevor Rogers. We're going to go to the bullpen there, and Cole Sulser here comes out of the bullpen. He gives up a triple to Pete Alonso here with 1 away in the inning, and J.D. Davis starts to strike out. Oh, man, a big-time couple of Ks right there from the bullpen from Cole Sulser. But the offense here for Miami's got to do something more, and they have not been able to in this game. Now Seth Lugo against Jorge Soler, and man, not a home run that time, as a pop-up from Soler brings us to the top of the 8th inning. We're going to go back to the bullpen here again, and Tanner Scott will come out of the bullpen here for Miami in the top of the 8th. A couple of strikeouts, a walk to Canna, and now a walk to McCann, but he does get out of the top of the 8th inning with no runs allowed. As we're going to continue, we're going to go back to the bullpen here again in the top of the 9th. Anthony Bender on the mound, and he gets a strikeout of the side in that inning, I believe. But now it's down to the 9th. A base hit by Birdie. There's another base hit, or double by Jacob Stallings. And that is going to bring us to go into this bowl game here. In the bottom of the 9th, nobody out, with a runner on second base for Joey Wendell. A double, a couple of singles, and a run in this game so far for Wendell today. And a huge opportunity against Edwin Diaz, who got the save in the last game. But there's a fly ball and into center field. But it is going to be run down and caught there for a big-time first out here of the ninth inning. Marcana does track that ball down and make the catch. So now here is Jesus Sanchez. 1 for 4 in this ball game with a single. 3 for 12 with a double in this series overall. 2 strikes on him now. The 1-2 is at the knees for strike 3. Brilliant pitch right there by Edwin Diaz. And now 1 away, or now 2 down here for Jazz Chisholm. 2 for 4 in the game, and Chisholm pops it up into foul territory. And the third baseman, J.D. Davis, makes the catch to end the ball game, and the Mets take this one as well. So Miami does, in fact, lose this series here to the New York Mets. They fall in 2 out of 3 games in this series, and the Marlins will trail in this division race now by at least a game, I think maybe a game and a half. But man, the Mets do take this series with a couple of big wins here. In a 4-3 game, the Miami Marlins just they could not catch up, and they unfortunately just could not rally enough in this ball game as the win goes to Chris Bassett. Trevor Rogers handed the loss, a triple by Alonso and a home run as well. So he had a really good game. 2 RBIs in this game, an RBI by Nimmo and McCann as well for New York. And on the mound, Chris Bassett had a pretty good day. 6 innings, 8 hits, which is kind of a lot, but only 2 runs allowed with a walk. Send 6 strikeouts. And then the bullpen here for the New York Mets, for the most part, shut it down, although Edwin Diaz did give up a run in the bottom of the ninth, but he does get the credit for the save. Joey Wendell had 3 hits in this one. Avisail Garcia had a home run and one of only 3 RBIs. Aguilar and Stallings have the other 2. And then pitching, Rogers, 5.2 innings, 8 hits, and 4 runs, 3 walks, and 4 strikeouts. Chris handed the loss. The bullpen, it doesn't give up any runs as well there in this game, but we are now going to go to, we are at the trade deadline here after that ball game, and now we're going to go into the trade block here, and I've already kind of looked at some trades that we could do, and one guy that I'm thinking about trading here is going to be Brian De La Cruz, who, you know, he does have a potential increase right now, but, you know, only 25 years old, but see potential. We have J.J. Bleday in our farm system right now, and he is having a really good season right now, so I want to capitalize on just his production while I can. And so we're going to go to who we're going to go with here. I want to look at this trade a little bit as we are going to go all the way over to the Cleveland Guardians here. And they have a first baseman that I'm really interested in, and that man's name is Bobby Bradley. Now, this team does need an outfielder. I've already looked at their roster. They do not have a very good outfield here. They would need Brian De La Cruz. It would be helpful to them. And here's Bobby Bradley, which is what we get in return. Now, Bobby Bradley is the same age as Brian De La Cruz is. Now, he does have B potential instead of C potential, so there's really the big difference there. But Bobby Bradley, man, he's been incredible this season. He has been playing in the minors all year, but look at his numbers, and I mean, you can't tell but look at his minors league numbers here in his AAA stats. 22 home runs and 57 RBIs, batting .286 with a .907 OPS. So he has been really excellent in AAA. And he's had some really good increases, a +5 and a +6, as you saw there in some of his stats. So we're doing this mainly because there's one other guy that we definitely want to trade, and I mean, he's going to leave a open hole at a certain position there, mainly first base. So we also include Eric Gonzalez in this trade as well, a C potential shortstop here at 30 years old, 70 overall, maybe a bench guy for the Guardians at some point in his career if he can make it to the major leagues. But that was the trade there that I offered to the Cleveland Guardians, and that is the trade that we will, in fact, do. Sounds like a good deal to us. We'll accept this trade, and the Guardians have given us Bobby Bradley in return of Brian De La Cruz. Now, that does open up a hole in our outfield, and that will open the door for J.J. Bleday to be called up to the major leagues. Bleday was batting around .260 or so in the minor leagues this season, and, you know, he's had some increases, mainly some +1s 2 and +2s. But he has been increasing in the minor leagues. Has been pretty good down there in the minors. So J.J. Bleday here is going to be on the Major League team now, and he is going to be in both of the starting lineups on this team for the rest of the season going forward. He's a 73 overall player. I figured it's about his time to get some playing time in the majors. Now, another guy that we're going to trade here is Jesus Aguilar. He's the big trade piece that we've been looking at moving really since this series started. And we need a first baseman. We got a first baseman, so we don't really need him. But as we look to see what kind of guys we can get out of him, we go to the Astros here, who have Yuli Gurriel as their first baseman right now. And Yuli Gurriel is 38 years old. He's really bad. And he's having a really bad season. And so we go to their catchers here, and they have Corey Lee as a good catcher here. Beat potential guy, 77 overall, and only 23 years old. And he can play first base and third base as well, and a little bit of the outfield. And so he's been increasing a little bit this season. And yeah, they definitely need a first baseman because Yuli Gurriel has really struggled this year. So we give him Jesus Aguilar. Then we also give him Anderson Tejada, who started the season in the major league level. And then we also add Victor Mesa Jr. to this trade as well, just to make sure that we want to, just to make the trade go through. And, I mean, if you're the Astros here, you get Anderson Tejada, a prospect here, only 23 years old, and beat potential, and a shortstop. And then you get a first baseman to kind of step in there for Yuli Gurriel. So that's the trade they're going to offer to the Astros here. And that is the trade that we will do with the Astros. Sounds like a good deal to us. So we get Corey Lee, and Corey Lee will be in the minors for the rest of this year, and probably will be up in the majors, maybe at the September call-ups, but certainly next year. He is good enough to do that. But the Marlins now a game behind the Mets in this division now, but that is a huge couple of trades, and it does change the dynamics of this team. Now, I was looking at the batting order a lot here, and another look at his stats. Very even standing stats across the board, and already a decent fielder there, and has pretty good speed as well. So I like that. But I was looking around our lineup, and I put Brian Anderson in as our first baseman for a little bit, but then I kept looking back at the guy that we just traded for him, Bobby Bradley, and I'm thinking, you know what, he's ready to play, and so I added him to the 40-man, and I'm going to add him to the roster, the Major League roster. So Bobby Bradley here is going to not make his Major League debut. He's played in the majors before at certain points this season, but he will step in and be our full-time first baseman here for the rest of the year going forward. So we're going to put him in the lineup here, so we have a couple of new faces to this lineup and to this roster here at the trade deadline, and that is all that that's all that I really wanted to do. I didn't want to change the pitching at all. This pitching staff that we got here in Miami is really, really good. And so I don't know how, maybe these guys, I think this is really a build for the future. Getting rid of, a couple guys that we're probably not going to use very much in the future of this series here, and getting a couple of younger players and getting one of our top prospects in the Major League team now in J.J. Bleday. So super excited to get those guys in the Major League level. And there's a recap of some of what these stats look like here on this team right now. But yes, J.J. Bleday and Bobby Bradley now on the starting lineup here. And that's the lineup, and that's what it will look like going forward for the rest of the season until at least the September call-up period. But that'll be it for me here in this episode here. We're a game behind the Marlins now in the division. And actually, before we go, we're going to give some contract extensions to some players here as well. And the first guy that I look at giving an extension to is Pablo Lopez, who has been just ridiculous this year with that 2.52 ERA. So a 4-year, $15.5 million per year deal given to our ace, Pablo Lopez. So we extend him. We also look at extending Jazz Chisholm as well here. He's going to be one of our stars that we're going to build around. He's not had an amazing season this year, but we give him a 4-year contract extension. And then nobody else really hopped out to me that I want to give an extension to besides Dylan Floro, who has been one of our better relief pitchers in the bullpen here. He's been a really good closer for us, and so we give him a 2 or 3 year contract extension there as well. So that will be it for me here in this episode, everybody. We did a lot in this episode. We didn't really move very much in terms of the the timeline of this series. We only played a couple of games, but a couple of big moves at the trade deadline. We get J.J. Bleday called up, and we acquire Bobby Bradley and Corey Lee at the trade deadline. Those are the moves that we make. So that is going to do it for me here in this episode and the trade deadline. So next time we'll continue with this series. We'll be in the MLB 22 Custom League for a couple of episodes, but I'm going to Key West in Florida here. Leaving tomorrow, so the videos I might not have another one out for a few days. So just be cautious of that. But you have been watching Lucas from Mars. Thank you for everybody for watching. Remember to subscribe to the channel to keep being notified of when I release new videos. And have a great day, everybody. You've been listening to Lucas from Mars. God bless.